Sorry, we can have this discussion when we will have a bottle of Georgian wine.
So we are going to have a live stream.
Okay.
Maybe we can already start then.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking, how do I share my screen? All right, anyway. Oh, here, there's the big green button. Oh no, disabled participation. Okay, I cannot share the screen, I guess. It's been disabled.
I think we can already start now.
Okay.
So good day to you all. We would like to greet you. As you say, I have a background of Tbilisi, so I would be glad to have you, Stefan, in Tbilisi, Georgia soon, and we hope that pandemic will end next year, hopefully, and we will have lots of opportunity to travel and do more business internationally. So on behalf of FIAPSI Georgia, National Chapter of International Real Estate Federation, which is represented in 70 countries worldwide, I'd like to thank you all again, our guests and everyone who is watching us on our live stream. Our organization is manifesting tangible efforts and results for healthy real estate ecosystem globally. Today, management of FIAPSI Georgia, Lika Kardava, president of FIAPSI Georgia, who will join us in a few minutes, and myself, Kate, we are thrilled to present Sustainable Development Academy's educational program. Special thanks to our honored guests, Mr. David Otarishvili, founder of K4S and Renewable Energy Program Manager, and Stefan Welbius, JLL's Head of Sustainability and ESG Services. The program covers all important aspects of the renewable energy sector, such as the latest technologies, current world trends, engineering calculations, design and management, finance, legal and commercial issues, and etc. Education program is designed by worldwide experts according to international standards and proven best practices, providing executive and comprehensive knowledge about each and every subject provided with the scope of the program. Our gratitude to Expo Georgia for giving a platform to raise awareness about this program. Also, our gratitude goes to technical partner Solvit, which is the company that supports us in all our technical aspects of FIAPSI Georgia and Property Georgia also. And also a special thanks to our media partner, the main business television in Georgia, BMG, for strategic partnership and continuous media support. Dear David and Stefan, we can actually move to the official part of our presentation. We'd like to learn more about this educational program from you, as I think, and all of you will agree with me that education is one of the main tools to succeed in life. So without education, you can never achieve the goals that you have, and it is true about all the sectors, all the fields that we are working in. So I'd like to give the floor to our honored speakers to learn more about the program, how useful it is, and who is it targeted for. Thank you.
Well, I guess, Stefan, let me start. Katie, first of all, thank you very much for initiating such kind of forum and inviting us and giving us a possibility to present Academy and to give more details and share more details for your participants. And special thanks to FIAPSI Georgia and Property Georgia team And we should mention that K4S Academy recently joined FIAPSI Georgia as well, and we do believe that with our expertise and experience, we can really add value to the sustainable development in general to create a better future. Regarding the Sustainable Development Academy, K4S, and K4S stands for Knowledge for Sharing. It's a Sustainable Development Academy, a non-profit charitable academy covering all sustainable development goals and thematic issues. And how we are doing it, actually, we are structuring an educational program which is high quality, future oriented, and we are actually inviting the world leading industry representatives and leading university professors to structure and design high quality educational programs. But when we are talking about the high quality educational programs, we have to always think about the costs that are related to such kind of programs are very high, and many talented people worldwide and in Georgia as well, unfortunately, they are not able to allow themselves to pay such kind of huge amount of money to access high quality education. So what we did actually in this case, we made it totally free. The only added value here will be that in the registration process, participants will just pay up to 20 euros, and all the collected money that comes from the registration process then will be used for the charity. And as you know that, well, in general, not only in Georgia, but not only the nearby regions, but worldwide, we don't have the same phenomenon and same way of sharing knowledge. And I think in that reason, K4S really is a special academy with a very good mission and vision. And as you know, that the main problems that our societies are facing today is the climate change. And to really be able to solve this issue, going through the energy transition process, which is a key to achieve the success and to really build a sustainable future, we do believe, and our team do believe, that the high-level education should be a core, giving equal opportunity to everyone and bringing on board the new talented people, sharing with them knowledge that is needed and that can be used to actually answer the problems that our societies are facing today. And in that reason, we are starting in Georgia with a certified executive program in renewable energy system management. And you made a quite good presentation on the program itself already. But to add something on that, it's a unique program itself, because such kind of program doesn't exist in Georgia yet, and even nearby region. And it covers all the main aspects, to prepare people, to give them a knowledge that is required to be able to tackle these challenges in terms of the energy transition, covering all the current technologies, covering all the engineering calculations, covering from the project management part and project financing. But not only this is should be also mentioned how we see the connection between our academy and, for example, Property Georgia is doing in Georgia and FIAPSI in general. So our so we will provide within the program different models. For example, just to give you an example, renewable energy, how it can be used for the winemaking, because it's a very important issue for a country like Georgia, and also sustainable development in general, but connected to the real estate. So we will cover smart city concepts, and Stefan, who is representing the GLL, which is, that one of the world's leading company actually in real estate business, and the company who is really committed himself to go to this transformation phase as well, and to provide to the clients more sustainable solutions. Stefan will act as a guest lecturers within our program, and he will cover actually very interesting topic about sustainable development in general, but strongly connected to the sustainable real estate. So actually, this is a very good connection and added value. What we see that can be perfectly integrated in FIAPC concept and Property Georgia concept, that daily business that you are doing. And you know that in Georgia, the construction business is booming today, and it's one of the main leading industry. And of course, it's a key as well to transform the way of doing business. And I do believe that Academy will provide the right signals and right ways to their participants to give them appropriate knowledge that can be then integrated into the daily business and to make it more sustainable way. And of course, not only business as usual, but entire societies, and including in our investment cases, the environment and the future generation as well. Yeah, I will just touch a little bit about the charity, and then I will ask Stefan to continue. For example, to just have a clear understanding, yeah, about the charity we are partnering. Very innovative company, Enovus, who initiated with the American Friends of Georgia a very interesting project. There is a Segway community shelter in Georgia, which is one of its kind of how to say shelter, who accommodates nearly 80 people per year, and mainly adults. So, and per year they have a related cost very high to the what they are paying for the electricity consumption, yeah, around 25,000 Georgian laris. And they initiated a project to install the solar PV panels for them. And if realizing this project is actually giving the opportunity for the community shelter to make the savings of 25,000 Georgian laris per year, and then use this money for the long-term perspective for other very important related issues. Yeah, so that's will be a perfect example, and K4S joined this initiative, and we are committing ourselves that all the money that will be actually we receive from the registration process to invest in this charitable initiative and make this project really happen. So this will be a very good example how by sharing the high quality education plus how it can be then integrated in the real-time projects, and how about that we can use this money for a charity purposes, but not for the short term, but really creating the long-term value. Well, I guess that's more or less the summary of our initiative. And once again, I would like to thank you very much for supporting us on our journey. And I do believe that together we will be able to create even more values as was discussed today.
Yes.
And I will ask Stefan to continue.
Yes, yeah.
And you mentioned correctly, yes, in Georgia, we have actually two big cities that are known for their big steps in construction business. And this is where we have to keep sustainability. And you also mentioned climate change. And with such programs, such educational programs that could be affordable for locals, I think that this is the right way to move on for better future. So maybe Stefan will tell us more, and sorry for interrupting.
No, thank you so much, David and Kate, for the platform also to speak here. Already mentioned, David, JLL is a real estate service provider. We have offices all around the world, and we are very committed to be building a better tomorrow when it comes to the real estate. And I am responsible for all of Central and Eastern Europe, including Nordics, also on sustainability and ESG services. The reason why I am so dedicated also to provide these services is because, you know, real estate has a big impact on climate change. We emit about 40% of the global greenhouse gas emissions come from the real estate. First taking it a step back. So With my job, real estate has a very big impact, and I spend a lot of my time educating corporates and investors, asset managers, asset owners on this topic. Sustainability in real estate is, everybody throws the words around. ESG, environment, social governance, is a phrase now used a lot. And buildings have to be sustainable. When we talk about sustainability, very often we talk about climate change, but that's just one tiny part. Well, it's a very big part, but it's just one aspect of sustainability. We're also talking about resource depletion, waste, soil pollution, deforestation. That's from the environmental part. On the social part, we have also a very big influence as a real estate. We have workforce productivity, supply chains, transparency, human rights and labor issues. We have a very big impact on as well. And on the governance, which is fair business operations. Let's say we have also certain points like reporting, transparency, and corporate culture and ethics, cybersecurity. Those are just some G topics. Going back to the environmental topic, and the big one is always climate change. We talk about, and when we talk about climate change, we talk about CO2 emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, or carbon, whatever you want to call it. But we talk about greenhouse gas emissions, and the EU has committed to be have a net zero economy by 2050. So in 2015. The Paris Agreement, we decided we want to stay on the 1.5 degrees Celsius. The IPCC confirmed 3 years later that we need to reduce our emissions by half in 2030. We've seen last year the EU taxonomy come into place in Europe, but it's affecting the real estate business all around the world. Basically the EU saying this is what we consider a sustainable building. In the coming 10 years, between 2023 and 2030, the legislation is expected to increase significantly. So the real estate business is besides the market pressure to provide sustainable buildings, also the legislation is stepping in and say we have to do this faster. One of those things is the EU Green Deal target, EU Green Deal to be net zero by 2050. Like I said, the built environment is responsible for 39% of the total CO2 emissions. So there's a very big impact. And we talk about for real estate, the emissions come mainly from, they come from two types of carbon, as we distinguish. We talk about operational carbon, so all the carbon emissions emitted during the life cycle, during the operational phase of a building. So you have gas boilers, but you have electricity. Electricity emits CO2 because elsewhere, of course, is a power plant generating electricity. But another part of the emissions is embedded in the building already from day one. It's we call it embodied carbon, and it's all the emissions that were caused by producing the materials and building the building, and also maintenance over time, and we call that embodied carbon. But the most important KPI for real estate, environmental performance of real estate, are two things. Is the energy demand per square meter per year, and we talk about greenhouse gas emissions per square meter per year, and we have to bring this down. So we decided that we have to have a decarbonized economy in 2050. Real estate will never be completely decarbonized because we need cement, we need steel. There's always carbon emissions involved, but we have to reduce a lot. And it's basically a line going for 2020 to from 2020, we are in a certain amount of emissions, and in 2050 we have to reduce. And it's basically a line going down. So every year, and this is what we call a decarbonization pathway, and every year this allowed emissions, let's say the emissions per square meter per year that we can emit, is getting lower and lower. So a building that right now is in line with a decarbonization pathway might not be in line in 10 years time. And you need continuous maintenance or retrofitting, refurbishment of the building. So yeah, and we talk about very often about new buildings. They have to be very energy efficient and sustainable. But of all the buildings that are there in 2050, 75% of that is already currently built already. So we have to also talk about the existing building stock to do the retrofitting and the refurbishments to make it more energy efficient. So going back to the very important KPI for environmental performance of real estate, we talk about one of them is energy per square meter per year. Right now, depending on the country, but we have about 250 kilowatt hours per square meter per year for an office building. So every square meter of that office building on average emits 250 kilowatt hours on an annual basis. The best in class buildings that we are currently building is between 120 and 180 kilowatt hours per square meter. This has to go down to 70 kilowatt hours in 2030 and ultimately 55 kilowatt hours in 2050. So if you build a building right now, it doesn't have to necessarily be already in targets for 2050, but it has to be able to achieve that target ultimately. So we help our clients. One of the ways we help our clients is asking the right questions to developers, because developers, I just came off a call this morning, they come and provide their pricing to build a building, and they might say, okay, we can build this building for a certain price, but you have to ask, okay, what will be the energy intensity of this building? How do you think you can reduce this energy intensity? And how will you go to the 55 kilowatt hours per year intensity? So if there's a developer that provided a price for a building that says, oh no, yeah, we can, it's not right now, it has the energy intensity of, you know, best in class, and to reduce, we can reduce it. You just have to change, maybe install batteries, and you have to put in a more efficient heating system. You know, that you can do in the coming 30 years somewhere when you have to reduce. But you also have developers that say, yes, okay, we build a best-in-class building now. And in order to be aligned in 2050 as well, with a very ambitious 55 kilowatt hours per square meter, you need to change the facade, which is a very costly thing to do. So even though they might have the same price, you have to select the developments based on more criteria. So we talk about energy intensity per square meter. It's just one way of doing this, and there are several other criteria that you have to put in. And the main reason why we want to do that now, of course, is to reduce the carbon emissions and have a decarbonized economy. But for investors, it is coming from very much the legislation. So investors are now pushed to invest their money in green assets, this because these green assets, the market is asking for it, and we see that we have a better performance when you have a sustainable building. So it might be very expensive to build a sustainable building now, but we see that across the board, we have a higher sales price for, so there's a higher book value of your asset, there are a lower holding cost, they're more liquid, your buildings, when they're more sustainable. So that's from a developer point of view. From an owner point of view, we see that the depreciation is slower, you have an increased occupancy rates, and you have a lower exit yield. So that is for the owner very attractive. And then the tenant, of course, that's inside the building, they're also asking for sustainable assets. And the reason for that is that they have a lower operating cost, perhaps, but the most significant one is actually, and now I'm going more from the environmental aspect to the social aspect, is they see that there is, when you have a better quality building with a better health and well-being inside, you have an increased productivity. You have better talent retention. You retain the talent more. People are happier on the work floor. And once you have these numbers, and they're quite hard to prove, to be honest, but once you have, you can actually make a good case on this. That's a very big driver to go sustainable, let's say. So I think I mean, I had a presentation for this this thing, but I'm doing it right now just on the camera. I just want you to have a few key takeaways on the buildings, and that is data is really needed to assess the building sustainability. So we advise clients on how to collect this data. Building certification, you perhaps heard of this, is of course the BREEAM and the LEED certification, which shows that the building is sustainable, or at least that's what they're trying to say. But it is not, if you have ambitious climate change targets, just saying that you have BREEAM certified buildings is not enough, because BREEAM and LEED and all these building certifications, they address ESG, like the whole sustainability space. They address everything a little bit. But if you say, okay, I want to become, I want to have a net zero carbon building in 2050, there are some other additional requirements you have to ask. We help clients with that. We have buildings that do not comply with climate ambitions from the Paris or the EU. Even if you are outside of the EU, they have the risk of asset stranding. So I work with with several big institutional investors. If they see that their building is, of course, they want to have like some sort of certification, would be nice. But if they see the building has a high energy intensity or a high carbon intensity per square meter, and they know that it is very hard to achieve net zero carbon building in 2050, they don't want to purchase it. Or they will go and bid a price, and they will slash down the price because there's a significant capex needed to invest and make these buildings comply with the climate ambitions. So another thing, sustainability initiatives and regulations are coming in hard in the coming 5 years. We try to provide transparency for our clients on what regulations are in which country and what you can expect. And also very important to remember when you start building a building now is that every asset in the EU, at least, and also outside the EU for the institutional investors in the EU, all buildings have to be carbon neutral by 2050. So they have to be net zero carbon buildings. And if you build a building right now that is in no way can achieve this net zero carbon target in the future, so I'm not saying you have to have net zero carbon right now, but you have to be able to find out if your building can achieve net zero carbon in 2050. This is something what we help with. And yeah, there are several services, and this 15 minutes is not long enough, but if you have any questions and you would like some advice, the first part is always where I basically do education. That's why K4S is very important, because it's everyone talks about sustainability, but it's surprising how little people actually know about sustainability. So every single new client that I have, I walk in, I do a lecture, as I will do with K4S, and as I do for the Prague University and Berlin University. It's very important that this information is given to everyone, because that makes my life easier as well. But it is super important because real estate is a slow-moving business, but has a giant impact. So we have to really act on that now. So feel free to reach out. You have my contact details, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Stefan. Well, for 2050, we have this target, and as real estate is a slow-moving sector, we still have lots of work to do, and education is the key for that.
Absolutely.
So we can
Stefan David, sorry to jump in late. Actually, now I'm at real estate forum, which is happening at Expo Georgia venue. This is one of the largest events after long lockdowns. We would like to, Kate and me would like to thank you for holistic opinion sharing and insights, which is really very valuable. Yes, we are limited in a time, but you have provided us with like helicopter view on sustainability and about the program, which is very useful for the country like Georgia, where construction industry is constantly in rise. And despite the obvious benefits to the environment you have discussed during your presentation, we see that the sustainable approach is also a very sound investment for businesses. So it's important to switch to new mode and embrace this approach and the concept of development. As the industry develops, we see that requirements change in terms of quality. Over the years, different definitions have been used to assess quality, but today we can definitely say that safety and sustainability in buildings is a new normality, even for Georgia. And at the beginning of 2020, I would like to mention that Georgian government has introduced new requirements and new standards for the buildings. And it is worth to mention that this new law applies to the buildings and it covers the inception phase of the planning of the buildings. And also it embraces energy efficiency measures that should be considered while developing the project from the inception of to construction of the project. So this approach is becoming more and more demandable on the market and raising awareness about the sustainability techniques and methodologies and also technical aspects would be very valuable. So we would like to thank you again for amazing presentation and exchange. We all agree that real estate industry needs regeneration and transformation because buildings and cities are really vital for our societies and for our quality of lives. And they are vehicles through which people live their lives. So let's consolidate our best efforts and work together to improve our built environment. Again, on behalf of Property Georgia and FIAPSI Georgia, we would like to thank you for participation, for great initiative. We're sure we'll have future opportunities to meet, discuss the program development and also to invite our partners, our members to share their feedbacks on the program. And with this synergy, we can together work on future-proof projects. So we will be more than happy to support such amazing initiatives. Thank you so much, Stefan David, for today's.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you, and we wish you a pleasant entire 2 days regarding the forum.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
As you mentioned, 39% that's real estate is responsible for of carbon emissions is quite a big number. So this program is a timely action, and such kind of initiatives will help to raise awareness and to see the necessity of education in this sector.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.